Welcome to Your Town. I'm Jess Ryan. I'm a proud West Liberty alum and a big community advocate. For years, I worked in nonprofits. I still do. And I really love the Ohio Valley and the resources that are available to everyone. And I'm really excited about our first guest. It is CASA's Executive Director, Susan Harrison. Thanks for joining, Susan.
Thanks for having me.
Sure. So for people that may not be familiar with CASA, let's just run over a little bit about the organization itself.
Sure. Well, CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates, and we are part of a network of agencies across the United States. So there's about 950 organizations across the United States. Everyone has the same mission. It just depends on how your judicial system is set up, exactly how you might work. But here in West Virginia, anytime a child has been removed from their home due to allegations of abuse and neglect, that starts a court process. So mom gets an attorney and dad gets an attorney. The children are appointed a guardian ad litem and a CASA volunteer. And so that CASA's responsibility is to get to know their child everything that goes along with that child, their schooling, their mental health, their family systems, their need for medical attention. And we gather all that information and we give reports to the court throughout the case about how the child is doing and what kind of services they or their family needs, and ultimately give a recommendation to the court what should happen in that case.
So not an easy task for a volunteer to take on, but the outcomes of having that type of advocate for the child is monumental. For someone to take the time to get to know the child in that circumstance, and because sometimes those are fights between custody more so than over the child itself, right?
Yeah, I mean, the circumstances that lead children to be in our, having a CASA volunteer or being in our court system are due to no fault of the child. So this is going to be when parents have a substance abuse addiction or a mental health addiction or mental health problems, maybe physical abuse or sexual abuse. In some capacity, the parents were unable to protect the child or to make good decisions for for their children. And when that happens, the state steps in. So Child Protective Services steps in. So it is, an important role for our volunteers and our staff to fill because they're making recommendations about the best interest of children. So if you're a mom or a dad or you have children, you understand that your job is to make a best interest decision about what your kids do. And in these situations, the parents are unavailable at the present time to make those decisions. And so the court has to. And so we train our volunteers so they know what to look for so they can make those recommendations about best interest.
Got it. So I know, how many CASA volunteers do you have here locally?
We have about 36 CASA volunteers. Our jurisdiction covers Ohio, Marshall, Wetzel, and Tyler counties. And there is a CASA program that serves Brooke and Hancock at the top of the Panhandle. So there is a CASA program that serves all the children in the abuse and neglect system up and down the Panhandle here. So in our program, we have about 36 volunteers and 5 staff. And soon to be 6. Next week, we will add our 6th person. So between, all of my staff, our job is to recruit, train, and then supervise the volunteers that are attached to the cases. So even though it is an important role and a lofty goal for a volunteer, they are really well supported. Our training process is the most time-intensive part of CASA. It is a 30-hour training curriculum, and it goes through all of the different pieces of the court system, the Child Protective Services, mental health, substance abuse, child development, just to really help volunteers feel ready to take on their first case. And because the need is so great, usually when they're sworn in by that judge, they're also getting attached to their first case. And then my staff will go with them to all of the hearings and multidisciplinary team meetings. We can go out on your home visits until you're comfortable going on your home visits on your own. But we really, feel strongly about supporting our volunteers so that they don't just take one case with us, but they stay with us forever. I have volunteers that have been here my entire career. So I've been here 16 years and I have volunteers that have been with me all 16 years.
It's amazing. It takes somebody with a heart of gold to do it, and it's very rewarding to be able to help those kids. So thanks for all you do. And if there are volunteers interested, they can just reach out to you.
Yeah, we have a website. So statewide, so if you're watching this from outside of our jurisdiction, you can find information at wvcasa.org. So wvcasa.org. Or if you're in my jurisdiction, please go to our website. It's WV CASA for Children, all spelled out. So WVCASAFOR children.org. And you can find that information, and it will give you a link to go to find more information or to apply.
Okay, great. So as a nonprofit, there's a lot of benefit from having unrestricted funding, and you guys hold some pretty great fundraisers. What do you have coming up?
Yeah, so we have two events. Our organization does two major events for our fundraising efforts, and our fundraising efforts fund all the extra stuff. So we have a robust foster closet. We help kinship families pass home studies. We buy beds and clothing and gift cards and things that can just help the transition from their parents' home into foster care a little bit easier. And so our fundraising events include the superhero 5K, 10K, and the kayak for CASA event.
So which one's coming up next?
So the first one is the superhero race. So this is our 11th year. It is always the third Saturday in April. So this year that's April 20th. And it starts at 9 a.m. And we have a new location this year. We had been at the Highlands for the first 10 years. And the growth there is just so significant that it just became a little, worrisome as a race director to keep everybody safe racing around the Highlands. So we are partnering with the city of Wheeling to utilize the trails in Elm Grove. So the start of the race is going to be where Community Street and the trail start right there by Uncle Pete's in the 470 ball fields. So parking and registration will be up at the 470 ball fields. Awards and food afterwards will be at the 470 ball fields. But we'll walk down that hill, and the race will start on the flat at the start of the trail. It is a flat paved course. And so that we have both a 5K and a 10K option, as well as a kids fun run. So all that kicks off at 9 o'clock on April 20th.
Sounds great. I love the new location. I wasn't aware that you changed. Like you
Yes.
said, it makes a lot of sense from a safety standpoint to be somewhere where there isn't a lot of traffic. And it's a great space if you haven't been to that area. It's off the beaten path. If you don't know if you haven't been there, it's because it's not on the way to anything but the 470 ball fields, or unless you're going to Uncle Pete's. But it's a really nice spot. So that's great. I'm glad that you found a new home.
Yeah, I mean, that is my preferred walking path. So welcome to Susan's training ground. But so one of my colleagues and I, we walk that regularly. It is really great. The facilities there are fantastic. It's a nice wide paved path. Like I said, it's flat. So the 5Kers will not cross any traffic whatsoever. So it's really family friendly to do that. And the 10Kers will cross at the Washington Avenue Bridge, there where you get off to go to the hospital. However, Wheeling PD will be there manning that traffic. And so we are very confident in their abilities to keep our racers safe as they're coming across that. So it's an out and back. So you'll cross it once, and then you'll turn around at the turnaround, and then you'll come back crossing it twice, but only the 10Kers.
Okay, good to know. And then the reception afterwards up at the 470 ball fields.
Yes, we're partnering with Fat Apple Bakery and doing pepperoni rolls and cookies. And so that will all be afterwards with the award ceremony as well.
Okay, and then do you want to talk about kayaks as well? Because I thought that was such a beautiful and unique event that you kicked off, and it was a home run first year.
Yeah, 100 kayakers out the first year. This will be year 3 for us. It is on May 19th, which is a Sunday. And so the details are all being ironed out, but we drop in Marshall County on the river. And then float down to, I think this year we'll be pulling out in the Bonnie's Bar or Viola beer joint area. rather than all the way down in Elm Grove. So details still coming on the exact course there, but it's about a 3 hour float if you don't get out and swim and enjoy the weather on the way. So last year we had, beautiful weather, and people were swimming in the creek. So yeah, it's a nice, again, another opportunity to enjoy something that exists. The Wheeling waterways are fantastic if you're an avid kayaker or doing it for the very first time. It's a great opportunity. So we partner with Southpaw Outfitters, and you can rent your kayaks directly from them, and they'll transport you from the registration out to the drop-in point.
So if it is something like you said, you don't have to be somebody that does this all the time. If you haven't
Mm-mm.
gone and actually been in West Virginia in that way and using waterways, super fun. COVID kind of opened my eyes to, they were like,
Yeah.
don't leave the state. I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do with my kids then? And we started to do tubes and do tubing, and then also do kayaking throughout the creek, which was a really good time, really fun, good way to enjoy the elements, get a little bit of vitamin D, and the camaraderie for the amount of folks that you have going are awesome. I know in the past you've ended it with kind of like some live music and some food
Yep.
trucks. You plan on doing that again?
Yes. Yep. That we'll be doing that again. The last 2 years, New Age Adina was able to join us. We're hoping for the same. Like I said, the details are still being worked out for all that. But yeah, it was just, hanging out in the yard, playing with yard toys from Trips Fun Zone, and just enjoying, just being able to hang out. It really is an opportunity for, a nice girls' day. I'll tell you, we had several groups of women who just got their friends together to do the float. And, it's a supported float. So we have people out there checking on you, making sure you have enough sunscreen and water. And, last year we had someone who said, I really want to try this. And she got about 1 mile in and she said, this is not my jam. And so we were able just to pull her out and take her home and let her hang out at the back at the site waiting for her friends. So it's a good opportunity for a first person, first time you're doing it, because it's supported, because we're there, if you need anything.
And it's not a
Um,
competitive event.
no, not competitive. It's just a float. Yeah, you start when you want to start and you finish when you finish.
Awesome. Well, good luck with both of those.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you.
Spring.
What's that?
Have a very busy spring.
Yeah, I know we always say we weren't going to do two back to back, but it's just the right time for the water levels. If you look outside today, it's pouring rain. This is the time where the creeks are filling up, and last year we didn't have our race until June, and the water starts to dry up in some spots, and you end up having to pull your kayak. But the earlier we can have it, the better.
Okay, good. Anything else you want to talk about with folks? I mean, we covered volunteering, how they can support you.
I don't think so.
We checked all the boxes.
Yeah, no, I appreciate
So
it.
if people want to sign up for the events, what's the best place? Through social media or on the website you mentioned?
Yeah, on our website, that wvcasaforchildren.org is going to be the place to go to get the information, because there's links to like the Eventbrite page for kayak, and there's links to the Tri-State Racer page for the 5K.
Great. Well, thank
Yeah,
you, Susan. I appreciate you
thank
coming
you.
on. It takes
Yeah,
a lot to put special events together, and I applaud you for going to fairly unique events to this area. And I know that people love to come out and support. And I hope if you haven't yet attended either one of those, if 5Ks or 10Ks are your jam, you hit up the superhero one with the new location. And then also, if you want to explore the outdoors a little bit or go with some people who have done it before or who haven't. How many people, Susan, did you have last year?
yeah, we had 99.
Yeah, so a significant group. Don't walk in there being worried about not knowing what to do. It really is something fun and a way for you to enjoy the beauty that is West Virginia. So thanks again, Susan, for joining.
You're
Thank you all
welcome.
for watching Your Town. We'll be back next week with some extra guests to talk about what's going on in the community and ways you can support. Thanks for watching.